Background checks. Are they doing more harm than good? There are two men sitting in an office building applying for a job that has recently become available. Both men are qualified to get the job, yet one man is more qualified than the other, except he has a slight discrepancy on his resume. He has a criminal record. Even though he's more he's more qualified for the job than the other guy. Who do you think will get the job? Employers are restricting themselves every day because of background checks. True, these checks accurately state what a person has done in his past, but it says nothing about who they are today. I first became aware of background checks as a problem for ex-offenders looking for employment after paying their debt to society when I was first released from prison. Yes, I've been to prison, and no, I've never did any violent acts of, I've never did any violent criminal acts. The fact of the matter is, I'm a man who, as a kid, did some stupid things which caused me my freedom. And but that's no reason to hold me to those same standards today, because I'm truly a changed man and I'm truly a different person than I was when I was a kid. Floyd, and I'm sure you can appreciate the fact, being in law enforcement, correct, that not all people go to jail, continue to do the same things that they did in their past, but there are certain people who do, and those are the people that you guys are there to do your job and to get these individuals off the street. But these background checks will affect the livelihood of people who has truly changed their lives, because most employers won't allow these people to have jobs, or they don't want to have them into their company because they feel their liability, whether it's fear or ignorance, whatever the case may be, they don't want them there. Furthermore, this is why I strongly recommend that we take action, not letting the results of background checks be the determining factor of who a person really is. For most, background checks will seriously damage their chances of obtaining a job to support not only themselves, but their family as well. Now, as we delve deep into the heart of the problem, to witnessing the damaging effect of background checks, one thing will become very clear. Something must be done to change this alienating factor for ex-offenders seeking jobs. Imprisoning America, a book by Mary E. Patillo, Harry Holzer, Stephen Raphael, and Michael Stoll examines how poor labor market opportunities for former prisoners are shaped by employers, and they're sometimes unreliable. Most of the time, I'll tell you, they're unreliable, meaning the background checks. Also, according to an article from the New York Times by Benjamin Applebaum about a felon seeking employment, the reluctance of employers to hire people with criminal records, combined with laws that place broad categories on criminal records, limit job opportunities. And it's not just frustrating for the men like Mr. Mirsky, which this article is about, it is also taking a toll on a broader economy. It's preventing millions of American men from becoming, in that old phrase, a productive member of society. Here's a book that will also help dig deeper into the fact, called World of Criminal Justice by Sherelle Phelps. In its simplest term, recidivism is repetitive of criminal activity or behavior. Again, Floyd, I want to reference you because I'm pretty sure you know recidivism, and what it pertains to. And for you guys that don't know, recidivism is the rate at which a person gets out of prison and comes back. And that's generally between 1 to 3 years. And that in itself is pertaining to mostly people who don't want to change their life. And that's a small percentage, but if you look at it on paper, they'll say that percentage is high. When you do a poll from 1 to 100 people and that percentage is high, that's not an accurate number to look at. But actually the percentage of recidivism is very small, with people being released from prison and going back. So until something is done about background checks and their blackballing characteristics, telling a person who has just completed a prison sentence he or she has paid their debt to society will be a complete lie. It will be plain to see for the individual that their punishment extends well beyond the walls of prison once released. Background checks at best are needed to collect information about others' criminal past. But if it's going to hinder the livelihood of others that has clearly changed their lives for the better, something has to be done to stop this damaging effect of these background checks. Either we eliminate background checks altogether or implement some sort of restriction to these background checks on applications. Whatever the case may be, something must be done to the damaging effect left by background checks. I recently spoke at a country club called the Thornblade Country Club at a forum for an HR group that was trying to generate more jobs in Greenville. And I recently learned about a project that's taking place called Ban the Box. And what Ban the Box is kind of like a temporary blinder on applications for employers to where the applicant won't be subjected to discrimination until they actually confirm or deny they're going to get the job, so the employer won't be able to see anything or ask anything about a criminal past until they decide, well, I'm going to hire this person or not. And then they say, well, do you have a criminal background record? They say, yeah, and then they can go explain more. Now, this isn't a permanent solution, but it's a start. Also, we can urge the government to reduce some of the strict expungement regulations, because some people go to jail and get criminal backgrounds just for having too many speeding tickets. Some people have an open container, whatever, it's the simplest thing that will get people in trouble in South Carolina and to put that stigma onto their end of their name. Also, educational employer workshops, removing the myths and doubts, because the more you know about a certain situation, the more you'll be easy to understand and generate a more valuable conclusion to who a person truly is. And last but not least, actually honoring the statement, pay their debt to society. Because we all know when a person says, or when you go to jail and you get out and they say, well, now you paid your debt to society, what are you going to do? Live a normal life? Well, that's actually not true, because that's all just a fabricated tale, because when a person gets out of prison, that's actually when their time starts, because they're blackballed from then on out, because no one wants to hire you. It's like you're a disease or some kind of, what was the last one, Ebola? It's going around. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that in their company, and nobody wants that stain on their reputation. And in conclusion, background checks will certainly damage the chances of ex-offenders obtaining a job to support not only themselves, but their family as well. This is why we need to eliminate background checks altogether or implement some sort of restrictions to these background checks on applications, educating employers and general public on the pros and cons of hiring ex-offenders. It will certainly increase productivity, not decrease. Start honoring the fact that a person has been released from prison, has truly paid his or her debt to society, and stop using it as a slogan that holds no weight whatsoever. For too long, people like myself and others have been deprived the opportunity of earning an honest living because of past mistakes. And I know some people will forever say, well, if they hadn't did the crime, they would have nothing to worry about. For those people that feel this way, I'll leave you with this. Think of something in your past that you did wrong. No one else knows about it but you. Doesn't even have to be criminal, it just have to be wrong. Imagine you were exposed for it this very night, and you will be held accountable for it for the rest of your life, even though you're clearly no longer that person that you were when you did that thing. How would you feel?